Maya Matzek here. It is the first thing in the morning, and I've just been thinking about, like, every day we wake up, right? It's this fresh start. It often does not feel that way. But I don't know about you. Most people I talk to have this place they come to every day of like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. Or, ugh, I wish I had done that. Or, you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, why did I do that? Why didn't I do that? And so this is actually one of the main themes of my new radio show, which is called The Moment. It's all about like this moment in time, in your life, right here now with yourself, and how to create a life, not only that you're madly in love with, because God, yeah, I'm getting a phone call. I'm going to ignore it. A life that you're madly in love with, but that how to cope with old regrets that you've had and how not to make new regrets, right? And so, I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's this list of the top regrets of the dying, and it's something that I always return to because I feel like it's a great orienting mechanism for us to look at people who've gone before us, who are at the end of their lives, and like, what do they regret about life, so that we can learn now how to do our lives differently, okay? And so I woke up thinking about this, and I want to just throw some stuff at you and let me know. You can comment, let me know what you think. And also, I'm now putting all my videos up on YouTube, so you can go there if you missed this live or you're looking for, I did one other video on regrets at the end of the summer. It's there. You can see it on my YouTube channel. Okay, I have some notes I want to check because I'm like, wow, this is so important, right? So the reason that you have regrets is because you didn't listen to yourself. You didn't do the thing that you wanted to do. And you did something that you wished you hadn't done because you were not listening to your true self. You either didn't know what you wanted to do, or you weren't tuned into your intuition about something, and you had like an idea like, well, I should do this because, right? I should go to college here because I should marry him because, right? These are big life decisions, but these are the things that people come to me for. They feel trapped by, whether it's a big decision like that, a small decision, right? About what you eat, hey, I'm live on Facebook. Sorry, I didn't know. I'm not alone. But so you didn't listen to yourself for some reason, either because you weren't tuned in to what you really wanted, or you had an idea about what you should do that would make you happy, but it was the wrong thing. Or you didn't do something that you really felt called to do. Sue, hi. So regrets are made up of, really, you didn't do what you wanted to do. Why? Because you didn't know what it was, or you didn't have the nerve, or you did something that you did not want to do, right? For a reason, to please somebody else. You thought that might be the formula to help you feel better. But it wasn't. Because why? Because you weren't tuned into your inner voice and your true self. Hi, Rita. And so why don't we live as our true self? It seems so obvious. Like, of course, and especially these days, you hear it being bandied around all the time, like, just be your authentic self. Well, it's not that easy. Am I right? Because we have been given all of these fucked up ideas about what's safe and what isn't, who we really are. So from the time we're born, for most of us, we're being indoctrinated with these ideas about what makes a good girl or a good boy, right? What you want to be accepted, who you need to be accepted. Love is almost always conditional, right? If who we are challenges our parents or our family members or the people in our school or our friendship circle or our group, even when we're like 4 years old or 8 years old, if who you are challenges or feels a little bit edgy, or triggers the person who is around you, they will do something to stop you from behaving that way. Whether it's singing too loudly or just expressing yourself freely. And so we start to get these messages that we're not acceptable unless, right? And so we start to conform ourselves to the ideas around. And I feel like my job in my coaching is to reparent people and help people reparent themselves. And because we've been given all of these messed up ideas that we're not okay just the way that we are. So we've been programmed, it's been trained into us from the very earliest days. I don't know if you've heard there's these interesting studies about, they take babies and they'll put them like babies in pink and babies in blue, and then give the babies to people to interact with. So of course the people see the baby in blue and they assume it's a boy, and they start going like, oh, look at you, such a big boy, and shaking him and like roughhousing with him. And then a baby is dressed in pink and they're like, oh, hello, sweetie pie. Well, hello, how are you? You're so pretty. So we are indoctrinated and interacted with and trained and programmed and given certain experiences from the time we are born based on who the people around us think we are. Can you start to see how you were programmed and trained into being a certain way? I had a father who roughhoused with me from the time I was very little. And that is unusual for a girl, right? And so I can see how there's certain ways. I notice when I've dated men and they're like, hey, princess, I'm like, not dating you anymore. Like, it just weirds me out. It doesn't feel real to me, right? But I've also seen how there are ways in which I could use some softening up because my programming was so toughening up. Right? And so there's always, you look at what your experience was, but my goal here is to start to showcase for you and shine some light on the places where you were trained to be somebody other than your true self. And then you went and you made decisions based on that persona or that identity that isn't the real you. And of course, now you look back and you regret it. It could be marrying the wrong person. People come to me to talk about the fact that they feel like they married the wrong person. I had a client recently who was like, I don't want to be with my husband anymore. And, you know, we really looked at, she was faced with either she needed to do something. She felt like she had three choices. Just keep things as they were, head down, like power through, kind of hate her life for the next whatever years, 10 years until her kids grew up and left the house. Have a real heart-to-heart conversation with her husband and be willing and open to work on her shit and him work on his shit. Or like find a way to disentangle herself and leave the marriage. Now she tried all three. Head down, powering through. She was miserable. She tried talking to him. He was a very negative person. He was like, I think it's all you. It's all your fault. And there's nothing. And she had done some things. She took ownership of those things. That was part of the process. But he was absolutely unwilling to do therapy, to examine his own behavior. And this had been going on for a couple of years. But she's like, I can't leave him because then I'm breaking up the family. I'm hurting my children. And her husband was leveling accusations at her like, you're a bad mother. Children don't need to come from broken homes. What, are you going to go be a slut now? Literally, these were things that he was saying to her. So I said to her, you know, what's happening here is he's saying these things and they're hitting hard because you believe them. There's a part of you that believes them. Is it true that you will ruin your children's chance of success if you get divorced? Is it 100% true that you're like a bad mother if you leave the marriage and start seeing somebody new? She had to really confront these old bad rules that she had. And that's one of the reasons why we make choices that aren't aligned. Like, we have these thoughts, these programming thoughts in our head that are controlling us and running our lives. And at a certain point, they catch up with you. She finally came to this place. I just got a message from her the other day, and she's in a whole new relationship. She took on her husband. She's like, she got strong and felt like, look, you can go be negative over there. I don't think that's good for me or the kids or you. Ultimately, it's certainly not creating a home atmosphere or a marriage that I want to be in. You won't work on it. And she confronted all of this negative training she had about herself, and she's in a brand new relationship. She's super happy, and she has been sending me messages over the past few months. We have not been working together, but as the results keep pouring in of her really tuning into her true self, cleaning up some old messes that she'd made, confronting the bad rules and the negative thoughts that she had about herself making this new decision. And she's like, thank you for helping me clean up my old thinking. And she's so happy in this new relationship right now. And so what are some of the reasons why we create regrets? The main reason is that you didn't do what you wanted to do and you did something that you didn't want to do. How do you clean that up? How do you start changing it? Well, to not make any new regrets, you have to tune into your true self and you have to have the courage to go live life and make decisions from the place of what your true self wants to do. So you have to know what you want to do, right? And then you have to have the guts to actually go out there and do it. And it's messy, it's experimental. It's one of the reasons why you need to find the people around you, right, who will support you in experimenting with it. So that's why people hire coaches. So you could get, let me say this, if you want to get in a group program of mine or one of my masterminds, send me a private message or comment below. And those programs are currently waitlisted, but I will put you on the wait list. If you're ready to go for it and you're like, okay, I think one-on-one coaching might be where I could really use some support right now, again, send me a private message and we can talk, okay? I have free consultations available for anybody who's interested in one-on-one work. What does Susan say? She says, and say no. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, Kimberly. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick look at my notes because I scribbled down some things. Okay, so yeah, what do you need to do? The only way to stop making new regrets is to get connected to who your true self is, get connected to your intuition, start trusting yourself, which of course happens from experimenting and stepping out and being messy, and like not doing the things that are for other people or from your old programming. And one of the top regrets of people who are dying is I'm sorry, I just got flashed that my computer battery is low. So I want to, okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. People regret not what they did, but what they didn't do. So you need to start finding ways to get courageous, hear what it is that you really want to do, and get the courage to actually go and do it. Okay? So there's that process of tuning into your inner self and your intuition and really listening to your desires. Like, what do you like? What don't you like? And then being in a supportive enough environment, which is where either, I've had situations in my past where I realized my whole support system were all people I had hired. Like, my life coach, my acupuncturist, people I had hired to be supportive of me. And on the one hand, I was like, oh my God, am I such a loser that I don't have friends who will support me? Who cares? If you need to pay for support right now, pay for support, right? There is no shame in that, because it launched me to a place then where I started to get a supportive friendship circle around me, and you can too. So you need to start listening to your program thinking and start taking steps to heal that thinking and retrain yourself, reparent yourself, so that you know what it is that you really want to do. You know who your authentic self really is, and you're able to be a little bit messy and experiment. And then you start trusting yourself more from that place. And then you're not going to be cowering and holding back and hiding like we've all done, right? You're going to be stepping out and taking the actions that, even if they fall flat on their face, you're like, fuck it, who cares, because I did that. And you know that that was a true to you decision that you made. I think that's it. So you want to be able to get in touch with your true self, start trusting your intuition, get surrounded by people who are supportive and encouraging, and step out and do the things that you really want to be doing, because people only really regret the things that they didn't try, that they didn't do. Kimberly says, LOL, I've so hired my self-support and had that thought as well. Okay, that's funny. I know. It's like, so what if you have to hire support? I've heard so many people say things like, well, I feel like I can just really do this myself. Or like, you know what? My boyfriend and I are going to do this ourselves. Now, that's great if you have a supportive boyfriend. But I'm thinking of someone very specific right now who was like, I think that my guy and I think I'm going to talk to him. Like, she was on a consultation call with me. She was like, I think we're going to really just work this out together. No, you know what was happening? She was in a controlling relationship where he wanted access to her money, right? And he wanted all of her attention. And she wound up, instead of investing in herself and in hiring me or somebody else to help lift her out of the situation she was in, she wound up in this dysfunctional situation where instead of her boyfriend saying, and sometimes you have to convince your partner that this is a good investment, and that's totally normal, you know, that they might be wary of you spending your money on something that they're not sure is going to help you. But if somebody's like, we can figure it out ourselves, even if that person is a therapist, if they're your partner, they're usually not the person. You need to go get outside opinions because they're so close to you. They might help you see your patterns, but they're also in the stew with you, right? And Kimberly says you can't do it yourself, otherwise you would have. Totally. Hi, Ben. Hi, Vera. We're actually wrapping up now, but let me just sum up for you. I'll recap real quick for those of you who just joined. The reason that you have regrets is that you either did something that you didn't want to do, that was like because of programmed thinking that like, oh, this is the right thing to do as a woman, as a man, as a person in this family, as a person of this age, but it's not really coming from the true you. Or you didn't have the courage to step out and do the thing that your true self really wanted you to do. So the way to stop having regrets in the simplest terms is to do what you really want to do, what you're really called to do, right? Of course, it's more complicated than that because we have all this programmed thinking and we have a lot of fear, and it's messy to figure out what it is that who you really are and what you really want to be doing. So you want to find people who can support, guide, and encourage you. And then the other thing is, remember, people mainly regret the stuff that they didn't do. Okay, that of course is going to be a topic for another time, like courage. That's another thing that we could really talk about. But for now, the way to stop new regrets from forming is to get connected to your true inner self, your intuition, and start putting yourself out there, doing the things that you really desire doing. All right, so that's it for today. I'm Maya Matzek. I am a life coach and a personal liberation coach. Again, if you're interested in one of my group or mastermind programs, PM me, drop your name in the comments, let me know here, and I'll put you on the wait list. I don't have any openings right now. If you're interested in just going for it one-on-one, I have free consultations. Again, send me a PM. And let's talk, all right? Because you can actually stop doing things that you regret and stop not doing things that you will regret not doing. How's that for a punchy punchline? I'm gonna have to tighten that up and then I'll tweet it out later today. All right, guys, go out there and live the life that you love. Be in love with your life. You can be in love with your life. All right? See you soon.